Andor. Andor is done for now.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, episode 6. The Story in the Engine, which was a title that worried me because I thought, they just, like I feel like a lot of Doctor Who in this era has been just built around like trying to do like something wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Story engines, the story in the engine. Way. But I thought it was a fine episode. It's definitely like a mid-season episode where I'm like nothing too fancy, nothing too awful, nothing too earth-shattering.
No.
I think my the first thing I thought about it when it finished was I think it's again a shame that we've got this Disney money and much like Lux, it's an episode about like gods or would-be gods with huge like kind of existential stakes.
Yeah.
And it's all within like a really tiny location.
Yeah.
With like a couple of characters.
Yeah.
And like I think it played to this episode's strengths a little bit more than it did with Lux, where it was like just the cinema. But I think ultimately it's still kind of like every time we meet something fantastical and otherworldly and godlike in this Doctor Who like current like thread, it always kind of feels contained.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
It feels small.
What did you think of the episode?
Yeah, I felt the same. I must admit, I found that, again, to reiterate, not as the big Doctor Who fan, as the casual, I found it very boring to try and keep up with the like I don't know how to call it other than like mumbo jumbo.
Well, like the rules of like
being
the fantasy.
explained of the fantasy.
Yeah,
I was like, what? Like I was really struggling to get, and I felt like the problem I had with this episode was it was a lot of that. I know people in rooms giving exposition. And I felt like the other episodes we've had this season have done a better job for me of like, there's an action that leads to the explanation.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was a lot of like just explaining. I don't know. It lost me a couple of times. I had to I literally pause it and like go back to be like, okay, what? Like, okay, so the spider thing that he's created to like kill these gods. And she's the daughter of a god, and she picked him because
some of it was a little obtuse. I also had to like scrub back a little bit.
Yeah,
but I think it's also because I'm not really feeling that engaged or excited because it's all happening in one room. And I think the thing that really let this down was all the side characters. We kind of got like little bits of their character, and it's like the reason why I came to this barbershop was because of this character for a moment.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like what it really needed was fleshing out all of the supporting cast.
I
don't feel like we got enough of them.
That's such a good point. Yeah, because we got a little bit at the start, and then it feels like they kind of just drop out the movie until like the end. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
really
also
true.
Like, again, I think so many of these stories, particularly this week and last week, could have really benefited from being two-parters because the whole crux of like the Doctor being like, I've come back to this barbershop after so many years. I love it so much because I get to like be like who I am in this body and all that kind of stuff. It's like I feel like that would have been so bolstered by like going to that barbershop in a pretty like last season, or if it had been last week had been the first part of that, and then this week he'd gone back to it years later, like, and we got like another story. It didn't need to be like a continuation of the same story, but just like the idea that like we had a previous adventure with this barbershop, I think would have gone a long way towards, do you know what I mean? Just making us feel it a bit more. Like when he's like, I love being here, I love you, and like I feel like a strong connection. It just didn't feel like it was necessarily like built up very well. But having said that, I did enjoy this episode more than last week, even though I think last week's story was a bit grander. I liked the idea of the gods, and I liked stuff like, you have to tell a story while you're getting your hair cut, and then like he kind of essentially grows your hair out. Like whenever, like what you were saying about the expositional stuff, whenever it was visual exposition, it was fun.
It was good, yeah.
And I liked the Doctor getting all these different like haircuts, and then using the haircut, the braids.
That was probably one of the best bits for me. I thought that was really cool. That they used the braids to like figure out the maze. I thought that was as a map. That was clever. I thought that was clever. Yeah,
I thought it was interesting, and I think it's interesting to go to Lagos in 2019. I like when Doctor kind of goes just ahead or just behind. Although I did disagree when he was like great year. I'm like, no, Rise of Skywalker.
Sucked.
Yeah, Game of Thrones sucked.
Yeah.
Last bit of freedom before the reckoning of COVID. That sucks.
Yeah. I
don't know if Turn on Demon was that great, yeah?
No, yeah.
But, sure. Whatever you say, Doctor.
That's where the MCU peaked, and then just...
Well, what was funny is that it was so weird when he was like, you watched all the MCU movies.
Oh, yeah! That was weird, wasn't it?
I always kind of
it screams trying to get down with like the young audience.
Yeah,
and I found it. I just don't need it. I know
I don't need it.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
I always feel like with these kind of franchises, like I never need. There's it takes it out of. It takes me out of it a little bit when they do stuff like that.
Same,
I don't need like it's different if like you reference like Agatha Christie or like old media, but like to have something so current sometimes I'm like it's fine. It's a personal taste thing. But I just find it a bit like ooh, like even stuff like in reminds me of like in Marvel stuff when they talk about like in the Eternals they're talking about like Batman and Bruce Wayne and stuff and like Alfred and I'm like and I remember being like. I don't like the idea that the DC comics exist in the MCU.
Yeah,
like
I don't
comics.
like that at all. I didn't know
That's
that.
horrible.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's horrible.
That's horrible.
Yeah, like just these worlds are larger than life, and I don't like. We find relatability in them for the characters. I don't need them to be relatable because like I don't know if you've ever seen, but there's like a scene in the Flash CW show where he's like speedrunning Game of Thrones like super fast, and he's like, "Jon Snow's dead. Jon Snow's alive."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I just don't need it.
Yeah,
He doesn't need to do this. It's one thing I think James Gunn's really good at.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he always sets his worlds kind of like the Guardians are off world.
Yeah.
Everything is from the 80s. Gives it a bit more like credibility. It's like so. It's
Also,
so out of the zeitgeist.
It's also not. I think it's the problem is when it's such a big, obvious cultural moment. It's not like a little cultural moment. Do you know what I'm saying? It really dates it.
Whereas Peter Quill's mixtape does not date it. Because it's all like stuff in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Like that's when it becomes a bit classier cultural references.
Yeah.
But it's a minor gripe. One thing I did want to touch on, because obviously like every week you're the filthy casual.
Yes.
Did you understand what was going on when the Doctor became a different Doctor? And was like talking about when like the camera panned and it was Joe Martin.
Oh right, yeah. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I was like, I guess that's because obviously they had the TVs. Do you know what? That's another problem I've had with this series actually so far. Is I feel like they're constantly referencing the past Doctors.
Yeah, like in the last finale, when the Doctor and Ruby have like a television set of like watching the full Doctor story.
It's like the same thing again because it was like TV with like screens.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's weird. It constantly keeps feeling like, oh guys, remember when like you loved all this.
I really like the resolution being, I'm the Doctor. I've got all these faces, so. Like, he doesn't really, like, do anything clever to solve the story. I feel like it's just the fact that he is the Doctor.
Yeah, I didn't really understand it. I'm not
kind
gonna
of
lie to you.
Do you know what I mean? It's just the fact that, like, I've had all these lives and bodies, and, like, of course the engine's now connected to me. I just thought it was all, again, just so obtuse, not very satisfying.
But this is the thing, is, like, I didn't really understand it. Maybe at that point as well, you could probably argue that my focus was deteriorating, and that's probably why I didn't pick it up. But it's also because, like, but then... If anything, I should understand more. Like as the filthy casual.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense to me, then like it's not. It's, you've kind of fouled as an episode, right?
Well, this is a lot of things interesting. Is that Doctor, the Joe Martin Doctor? She's like completely tied to like the whole Timeless Child arc. So like having her pop up again is kind of like once again reiterating.
Oh, so your favourite thing?
Well, the problem I have with the Fugitive Doctor is like I like Joe Martin as the Doctor. I think the outfit rocks. I like the way she plays it.
Yeah.
I would be up for more Fugitive Doctor stories. But it's just the whole thing that, like, she's supposed to chronologically be before the first Doctor. Like, the whole idea of Doctors before the first Doctor, the whole Brain of Morbius thing, I just find, like, no, I don't like it. Like, give me 1 million Doctors in the future.
Yeah.
She could be an undisclosed Doctor from the future that we haven't caught up to yet, that starts cropping up in adventures. Yeah. That doesn't bother me at all. But like this whole idea that like there's this secret origin. I mean, I've gone over this so many times on Full Fat and the podcast. Like we don't need to get into it now. But I just like,
I guess it's like if there was a chosen one before Anakin.
Yeah, it's like this whole idea. Oh no, you know what it is? It's like, did you know that Anakin was actually reincarnated, and that there's a whole story with Anakin 1.0 before Jake Lloyd Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
That's actually even more important that he never knew about. He had his memories wiped. Just like, do we need this?
Yeah.
Does this need to happen? No. So yeah, it's just so weird how RTD as soon as Wild Blue Yonder happened, where Donna was like, "You're not really from Gallifrey, are you?" And it was like, "Oh, we're gonna double down on this Timeless Child stuff. We could have just forgotten it, but we're gonna double down on it." It's like, oh, and like again this week, obviously, like. just having the presence of the fugitive Doctor reaffirms the Timeless Child. But whatever. I like Jo Martin as the Doctor. If we could get more stories of her, and like what I did like about this week is that we didn't reference the Timeless Child. It was more a reference to something which I think they could do in Doctor Who more, but obviously they can't afford the actors for like a 2-minute cameo. Is whenever the Doctor in any story in the whole show says, "Oh yeah, years ago I came here." As a fan, I always think, "Oh, I guess they always mean the current Doctor." But like, for example, like when he's like, "Oh, like I came and fought the Daleks over here this time 200 years ago," in the fan head you think, "Oh, is that Peter Capaldi?" So like I think it's fun that like it turns out that what he's referencing in this story was when he was Jo Martin. And I wish they would do that more, and I feel like it's the sort of thing you could probably do more in animation or comic books or whatever, where you could just draw the other Doctors' faces without having to like fly them in for a day and charge them a day rate. But so I did like that, but if we're going to get more Fugitive Doctor, I just hope that we just leave the Timeless Child thing to bed. It's been controversial. Like, I think it has its fans, but I think largely people don't really enjoy. Or what happened before we met the Doctor? Like, we just don't need to know this. Like, the strength of Doctor Who is he rocks up at a place, something's wrong, it needs fixing, I want to help. Yeah. Like, we don't need like his origins. Like, that's boring. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was so weird that she pops up in it. Yeah, like it's technically a multi-Doctor story. Yeah, it's funny. It's good to have it explained because I was like, a little bit. I was like, oh, I think I remember them from the last one. Yeah, but it's just the equivalent of like camera pans over and it's Matt Smith for 2 seconds, which would be super weird. Yeah. Like, but I wonder if now the fact that Jo Martin was like, oh, it's a story for another time or something. That's what she said. And she said something like that. Yeah. I'm like, is she gonna pop up in the finale? What's going to happen there? Who knows? Yeah, I thought like Nick Cage was going to come down and beat the mechanical spider at one point. Oh god, giant spiders. But yeah, it was an okay episode. I'm not going to rush to watch it again. No, I still think overall this season's been stronger than last season. I agree. I did also like the story that was told about Belinda with the old lady in the hospital. But I feel like I like that bit, yeah. I feel like that bit almost functioned because they probably looked at the script and was like, "Oh, Belinda does nothing all episode." Yeah. Like it almost felt like a companion light episode, which sucks after last week she wasn't really in it. Yeah, that's true. And now it's got to this point where by episode 7, it's like, oh well, I haven't really seen her since episode 4. No, wait, what? No, so 3 episodes, 4, 5. Next week's episode 6. So since episode 3, I don't feel like I've really had a lot of Belinda time. Yeah, which is a shame, but. Next week, Eurovision Song Contest in space. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, so, Graham Norton's going to be in it. Ryan's going to be in it. Oh, Graham Norton's going to be in it? Apparently, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it could be fun. Okay, we like Graham Norton. Could be fun, yeah. I'm hoping for high camp fun banter, hijinks. Yeah, I think it's going to be like the fun episode, low stakes before the finale. Yeah. Where we'll see some revelations. And is it, how many episodes? Is it 8? Yes, we got that episode and then it's the 2-part finale. Okay. Which brings us to next week on the podcast. It's going to be another full fat podcast because we've got the Andor finale. Damn. We've got the Mission Impossible finale. Oh my god, yeah. And then we got ended, isn't it? Yeah, then we got Dead Reckoning. The Dead Reckoning, the final reckoning. Yeah. And then we've got the Doctor Intergalactic Space Contest, whatever the episode's called. Oh, so yeah. So if you like this episode and you like the podcast, then please subscribe. If you're watching it on YouTube, watching the video podcast, subscribe. Watch the other parts. If you're listening to it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, then please subscribe to us on that. Can you subscribe on Spotify? I don't know. You can follow. You can follow on Spotify. And of course, if you still want the main full fat videos, then head on over there and subscribe there because I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Kind of got a few ideas. Maybe a Bucky video. Tempted to do something big on Mission Impossible, but I'm not sure. Ooh. But something this month. Something's got to come out this month. Mission Impossible would be nice for the last one. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That's the thing. It's kind of dependent on what mood am I going to be in. Yeah, that's true. I've got a feeling if Mission Impossible rocks, I'm going to be in a big Mission Impossible mood. Yeah. But also, part of me is like, can I just do a whole video on Cyril Khan? Yeah, you think you could do a lot on that. There's stuff. Plenty of material. Yeah. Plenty of material. But yeah, we'll see you for the final Andor pilling. A huge thank you to Dr. Chike and Peter Vaughan for being my full fat patrons. Your contribution to keeping the channel running is immeasurable. If you'd like to join the Patreon for exclusive goodies,
early releases of main videos, the podcast, video scripts, and a thank you in the credits, then please head on over to patreon.com/fullfatvideos to choose one of the paid tiers.